Thanks for clicking on this video. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon and turn on all notifications to keep up to date with the latest information and discussions.
Egads, they are very slowly getting away.
Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now, yes, I know, it's been about 4 months since I last touched upon this scenario. Again, sorry about that. However, we are back to this one, and this story is not just something I've come up with on the MasakoX channel. This has been something mooted and proposed by various people all across the internet for the longest time. One of the biggest questions within the Dragon Ball community. Something that could have easily happened in the main story had characters actually acted upon their feelings, and whether Toriyama got up on a different side of the bed one day. That's right, it's time to return to part 10 of What If Goku Married Bulma. You're probably familiar with what I'm going with on this what if and how it's really working, but let's try and boil things down back to the basics for anyone new to the series. Bulma decided to act upon her feelings in the original Dragon Ball series, and instead of letting Chi-Chi take the prize of Goku, she was gonna go all in for herself. And there's a lot of evidence to back this up if you go back through the original Dragon Ball and then see where they are when they actually meet Goku and Bulma as adults. Bulma does have feelings for Goku. I feel that this could have easily been a plausible change which would have made everyone happy because Chi-Chi would have shacked up with the Yamcha, if you look at the original series, just all depending whether Toriyama decided to do one thing instead of another. For the most part, the relationship between Goku and Bulma is a pretty easygoing one. But in recent times, ever since the revelation that Goku was a Saiyan and therefore their son Gohan, it got Bulma into the thick of it and she wasn't sure whether she could cope with it. However, it's all been dealt with Goku taking the charge, genuinely wanting to take charge, and Gohan now calming down and beginning to understand what his rage boosts are. But now instead of that melodrama, we got another melodrama with future Trunks being on the scene and figuring out that, oh my god, he does not exist in this timeline. And as we've seen in previous parts, Trunks is now even more of a bungler in this scenario. Speaking of parts, in the last one, Bulma, Gohan and Krillin were successful in trying to figure out a way to neutralize 17 and 18 by erasing their current memory and taking them all the way back to the point that they were abducted by Dr. Gero. They have no idea that they are cyborgs or androids or whatever you want to call them, and they were just plonked down in a nearby city and left to do their thing. But there's still one more out there, and they have no idea about Cell at this point. But the fact is though, Android 16 is out there and he is on a mission, and Bulma does not like what this mission entails, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the actual mission. The original scout party of Piccolo, Trunks and Vegeta, Bulma doesn't know about this, it's now just basically gone down to Vegeta just scouring around desperately trying to find 16. Piccolo's now fused off to fight what ends up being Cell, and Trunks now just smarting back at Capsule Corp. Now, last time I gave you guys a poll about whether 17 and 18 would actually realize that they were cyborgs on their own. So, the results. They were pretty conclusive. 87% of you said that, yes, they do find out that they're cyborgs on their own. Okay, duly noted, thank you very much for participating, and we will touch upon that subject later on in this video. After dropping off the twins in the city, Bulma and the others then head back to Capsule Corp to try and figure out what's going on in the current situation, and hoping that Android 16 hasn't got back there looking for Goku. But when they get there, what they do find is a rather particularly perturbed Trunks who is currently brooding about the situation and basically thinking that he's just causing trouble. Quite rightly so. Bulma and Gohan inform Trunks of what they were able to do, and Trunks can breathe a slight sigh of relief. Okay, they're no longer an issue, and hopefully they can actually keep it that way. At least they're not on the prowl for Goku anymore. But at the same time, Trunks has a feeling that this isn't over. Bulma had received a phone call while she was away about a particular product that Capsule Corp seemingly owns, which was dumped and covered in moss somewhere in the forest that somebody had reported in. Bulma's then thinking, well, it's not that far away and 16 hasn't found this place yet, so yeah, maybe it can't hurt just to quickly go and check it out. Bulma's taking a little bit of a risk here, but it's not that far away, and it's just at best for like 20 minutes. I think it'll be fine. And she's well protected, and if there's a sign of trouble, they can quickly get back. So now with Krillin in tow, this is the point when the gang found out about Cell. Speaking of Cell, Piccolo is now heading out to the outskirts of Gingertown to take on the Bugman. Piccolo is met with the remnants of a really completely decimated city, and the only thing that he can hear is the footsteps of terrified civilians as they're slowly being drunk. All that remains now is just a terrifying creature who is standing right before the Namekian, looking absolutely hungry. We then get the thing from the original story of Piccolo and Cell kind of understanding who they are, Cell giving the exposition, no. And then of course the subsequent fight plays out as it does in the original, except with the inclusion of an unexpected visitor. And that is Android 16. Okay, Masako, well why does Android 16 show up? Well, in the original story, it is said that 16 does have the capability of sensing energy because he is fully automatic and he is fully a robot. So therefore, he does have the capable radar detection of certain power levels. 16 could sense Piccolo and Cell together, and Cell's power being the same as 17's. He points this out to his android siblings, but they don't care, and they drive on. 16 is having to just kind of toe the line. But now they're gone, 16 can basically detect and investigate the situation on his own. And not to mention the fact that due to Cell's genetic makeup, it contains traces of Goku's DNA. So this is something that 16 would definitely want to check out. Piccolo is shocked to see Android 16 arrive, but then he is equally confused, thinking that 16 is going to join forces with Cell, but instead of that, he's not doing anything. He's just standing there and silently calculating, doing little whirring bits and bobs inside his robotic cranium. He's just staring at Cell, and even Cell's getting unsettled right now. And have you seen what Cell does? It takes a lot for him to get unsettled. But then he recognizes the red ribbon logo on 16's chest. No, please, this is an inferior model. You're nothing like me. I'm Cell. It's nothing to worry about, but at the same time, why isn't this robot doing anything? 16 is busy scanning the form, trying to detect how much of Goku's DNA is in here and whether this is a viable target or not. And this is leaving the robot really conflicted, throwing up paradoxical errors. His directive is to get rid of Goku, but Goku is here, at least in part, but it's not Goku because visually it does not look like Goku, but the DNA is in there and, okay, yeah.
I'm confused.
Result, inconclusive. But before he can resume his quest for the real Goku, Cell fires a blast at him out of frustration, forcing him to do something. But 16 easily blocks it. At this point in the story, before Cell has actually accrued more biomass from drinking other people, he is actually at that point where he could actually lose to Android 16. 16 then retaliates, not because he wants to fight Cell or anything, it's just his self-defense protocol. As he's charging up that blast and 16 and Cell are bickering, Piccolo uses this time to charge up a special beam cannon. Cell is just about able to deflect 16's attacks, but then he realizes what Piccolo's up to, and he's not liking what he's seeing. Uh-oh. Time for a solar flare! But just before he fully activates it, Piccolo then fires the beam. It is heading in his direction, but Piccolo is then blinded, not sure where it's going to land. Cell then jumps up trying to escape. Does it actually hit him? Well, not entirely. It doesn't get a full direct hit, but it's enough to singe the Bugman's leg. It's left on the ground, but Cell is gone. Cell got lucky. When the light dissipates, Piccolo then realizes that Cell is gone, and now 16 is gone. All that's left on the ground is a leg and some green goop trailing for a few hundred meters when Cell was trying to escape.
Oh, okay, did I actually beat him?
Cell's energy's gone, and there's a leg there, but he could easily just mask his powers, so I think it's safe to assume for Piccolo that, yeah, Cell is still around. So while Piccolo's processing all of this, Vegeta then lands on the scene, having detected all of this power going on and deciding to want to know what is going on here and whether 16 was actually there. But then he sees Piccolo there, completely unharmed, having regenerated his arm due to the whole thing and whatnot, and demands to know how he got so strong. He just wants to know where Android 16 is, and when Piccolo's trying to protest, saying that he was having to deal with Cell at that point, Vegeta is not listening to a single word he's saying. This shouting match continues until Vegeta gets bored and decides to resume his search for the android. Speaking of androids, 17 and 18 are now just milling around a nearby park in the city that we're dropped in, now realizing that, well, okay, what are they going to do? They are bored out of their minds. They have no idea where to go in the city. It's just that crazy lady just dropped them off in a random city, and it's extremely dull. Yeah, they may be human, at least in mind, but before Jiro actually took them under his wing, they were pretty much delinquents, and you know it. But fortunately, things get a little bit more interesting when another group of teenagers accost 17 and 18, saying to them, "Get off our spot. This is our area to squat in." 18 throughout all of this is completely unfazed also. But when it's quite clear that this is going nowhere and now 18's starting to get bored of this standoff, she then steps up and squares up with the leader as well. But this gets the leader rattled, having to take orders from a girl. So then he decides to try and slap some sense into 18. But she's having none of it because remember, they still have their upgrades. She then decides to punch the leader with all of her strength. Big mistake. This eviscerates the teens, sending horror throughout the entire gang, and including 17 and 18 kind of realizing, where did you learn how to do that? Without another thought, 17 grabs 18 and then they run as fast as they can, which is to say, very fast. Dozens of miles an hour, they are basically human blurs. This then catches them off guard and they fall over in a very far away alley, basically on the other end of the city, within a couple of seconds. After more attempts trying to run as reasonably fast as they can, they get to the outer limits of the city and begin to try and process what just happened here. 17, being a rather immature boy, is now thinking, hey cool, we have superpowers. 18's still kinda scared about what happened, but 17's thinking, come on Sense, think about it. We woke up in a lab, this crazy lady took us away somewhere, it's all a sign, we have superpowers. Awesome! But still, 18's pretty scarred. And yeah, they've gotten into fights before, that's not the issue, but where did they get the powers to be able to do what they just did? But one thing's for sure, they gotta skip town fast. But then 17 thinks of a plan. Well, okay, we may have these powers, but do you think we can actually fly? So 17 tries to do so, searching throughout any kind of means to be able to try and fly. And sure enough, he's able to hover for a couple of inches and then falls over again, thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. After many more attempts of trying to do so, they eventually able to lift themselves off the ground a little bit and just hover away, trying to figure out what they're gonna do next. We then get the situation where Bulma, Gohan, Trunks, and now Krillin discover the remains of the old time machine covered in moss nearby. What is also revealed to them is the revelation of Cell's existence in this timeline, due to the exoskeleton that's left. These events are going on at the same time as 16, Piccolo, Cell having their own little argy-bargy. Trunks, Gohan, and Krillin can sense this going on, but they can sense that whatever power's in there, it does contain Vegeta's essence. So they're just assuming that, okay, great. Piccolo and Vegeta just squabbling again as usual because they can't sense 16's energy. Plus another reason why I think they wouldn't go and investigate is because Trunks wants to stay as far away from his father at the moment as possible. With Vegeta back searching for 16, Piccolo is now on the quest to hunt down Cell. With their inquiry now done, Bulma and the gang head back to Capture Corp and decide for its best interest to take Goku far away to Kame House just in case 16 does show up, because he didn't show up now, it's no guarantee whether he'll actually not come here again. And it's just as well because not long after they leave the Kame House, 16 arrives at Capture Corp trying to detect Goku anywhere within the building and the facility and getting butt kiss. 16 then comes to the conclusion that the next place that he should look is at Kame House, which he is correct to think so. And I think that at this situation, now that he's not having to deal with 17 and 18's escapades, he is basically closer on the chase than he was in the original timeline, which does set up a game of cat and mouse. And because remember, there was plenty of time for the gang to settle themselves at Kame House before 16, 17, and 18 actually realized, hey, we should probably go there. But now, there's a lot more in it. At this point, 16 may as well be just chasing the group in real time, but he's deciding to keep his distance for the time being. Because remember, his only mission is to get rid of Goku. He is not meant to harm anyone else. But if they do decide to defend him though, they then become viable targets. The hunt is on. But I think what's also on is another poll. Vegeta is detecting all of these power levels heading in a certain direction. Now, what I'm going to ask you here is whether he either does something about it, or does nothing about it, continuing his own wild goose chase. The choice is up to you, and that is where we're going to leave things for right now. So what do you guys think? Do you think 16 is going to act upon his directive and get rid of Goku? Or do you think 17 and 18 will step in? Or do you think Vegeta will actually do nothing? The choice is up to you, but leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!